Hi, everybody. My name is Dan Lagémi. I run BPY Services, um, a payment consulting company. And today with us we have Dan Melnykov from Corefy, and we're going to be discussing all the payment compliance and regulation in the gaming industry. Dan?
Hello, everyone. Yeah, thank you very much, Dan, for introduction.
So tell us a little bit, first of all, a little bit of background, what you do, a little bit about Corefy, and then we'll get started with the
Yeah, thank you for your
topics.
question. Corefy is, as you may know, is a payment orchestration for online businesses and payment institutions. As you may understand, there are two sorts of clients on board. On one hand, we have institutional clients. Those can pursue different models, business models, including providing gateway services, or their regulated businesses such as PSPs or acquirers of principal members of Visa and MasterCard. At the same time, we're serving online merchants, and related to the topic too, we're talking about from gambling sectors as well, and so they are as well regulated businesses, and they use our orchestration level is to orchestrate not only flows but also is to comply with local rules and regulations in the certain jurisdictions. So this is basically in essence what we do at Corefy.
So managing all of the transactions for your clients and making sure that they actually comply with all of the rules and everything.
Great. I mean, like we're providing them tools in order to
Of course.
adhere to
Yeah,
compliance.
not
So
responsible.
we're not responsible. We're not. So our services in essence is a software services or a data processing services. So actually, we cannot guarantee. Like,
Obviously.
nobody, right?
Obviously.
Can say that. But
You give the tools.
I give the tools. Right. Correct.
Interesting. Okay, so let's jump right in. The industry, the gaming industry, is becoming, especially from the regulation standpoint, it's becoming more and more difficult to comply, to register, to have all of the licenses and everything. Can you help us see a little clearer in, first of all, the what's going on currently, the evolution of the regulation, and what is important for our audience is mainly how to make the most out of the regulation so that it's more of an asset rather than a problem.
Yeah. So actually, why we choose the topic of our this podcast is that more and more clients are asking me personally and my colleagues is how to do this and that. Because we clearly see that the gambling market is growing, and at the same time, governments all around the world wish to put it under control.
Of course.
Because it's basically a good source of money, good source of a source of taxes and a wealth of the nation. So we clearly see that regulatory compliance is getting more requirements. They're coming from different jurisdictions, and online gambling businesses, they have to adopt these new regulations. They have to quickly change to the changing environment. And what I'm seeing is that, for example, some time ago we have like a single market in Europe, right? And with MGA license or multi-gambling authority or a license, it would be possibly you can enter almost any country in the European Union. But now see that it's MGA license power reduced dramatically. So I believe, if I'm not mistaken, there are just 4 countries that you can operate in with MGA license. And we see that many regulators are now implementing their own licenses in many countries. For instance, recently Germany, it's now the progress, and see that they are straightened their compliance rules, and already working with payment providers is to get the money flows under control. And also, I believe there is a tendency, continue about talking about Europe. So some regulators, they require payment providers to obtain a local license to work with the gambling businesses or regulated businesses. One of the regulated businesses has to obtain another licenses to work. For example, recent example in Romania.
Yeah.
And the other thing is that we see that for many years, for probably 3-4 years, cryptocurrencies are booming, right, in the gambling. I believe there are a lot of projects, they fully rely on cryptocurrency processing. So they're not accept any other payment methods except cryptocurrency. So, and we clearly see the signs is that it's getting, this part of the payment industry is going to be regulated.
Of course.
Or it's already regulated in some jurisdictions. For instance, Malta Gambling Authority licensed already a first cryptocurrency processor is to work with regulated businesses. So this not only like a traditional institutions are working on that, for example in Romania, but also the governments are trying to regulate the cryptocurrencies. So I believe the payments in this business are a core thing.
Mm-hmm.
If you put under control the payments, so you can easily understand how much money you need to collect as for taxes, right? So this is but at the same time, I believe there is a advantage for government, a disadvantage for gambling operator. I'm trying to say that they have to quickly adopt. They have a system in place in order to handle this burden, right? So this is so we see from one side we have a very fragmented payment world with different payment flows, experience, emerging things, and at the same time, the gambling world is getting more and more fragmented for experience. So if you're a truly international player and you wish to operate in multiple jurisdictions, you need to multiply the efforts to obtain local licenses and then to manage them accordingly.
But you're right that every aspect of the payment and the regulation of the activity itself of the gaming operators, everything is really intertwined, and it's really important to have a kind of a holistic approach when it comes to the regulation. But at the end of the day, so for example, when you want to apply for a MID in the gaming industry, they're going to require the license, and then they're going to adjust the target country that you are able to accept payments from according to the license. And so this is what is important when we want to have a general approach, like how should one gaming operator approach the licensing so that they have multiple access to as many countries as possible, because they want to be international players and they want to be able to target pretty much everywhere. But then at the end of the day, it depends on the licenses that they have. And so, like we heard recently talk about Estonian license, because there is also the topic of the Curaçao license. What's your take on not the best license, because obviously at the end of the day it depends on what you want to do, but like the right setup so that you can benefit from the best payment processing system for your operation?
Thank you for your question. So actually there is no simple answer for that.
Of course. Never is.
Yeah. So what I personally can observe, is that there are some, the traditional market is divided by platforms and operators. There are some other guys there helping, both groups, like gaming providers or payment providers or affiliates. They sending traffic, so they are serving to all these parties. What exactly see that's usually gambling platforms. They already have a pool of licenses. Mm-hmm. Is to help their white labels or turnkeys is to go to the market go to market very fast, and so simply eliminate this burden to obtain the licenses. So I believe it will be a certain concentration because it's very difficult to maintain like dozens of licenses, right?
Yeah.
So you have a team, compliance team. You have
Also very expensive.
It's also very expensive. So and Curaçao, for example, it's betting in the United States. It's almost every state has already implemented its own license, right? And if you wish to work with another state, you need to obtain a license. So it's a very fragmented experience when it comes to the United States. And here in Europe, it's just really the same. So if you have Estonia license, you mentioned that, then you can operate in, you have a certain limitation with Estonian license. You cannot operate in France, right? So,
Okay, yeah.
True. So, and then you have an MGA license, and there is some, you can do with MGA some things. Then you are thinking, okay, traditionally I was with an MGA license for certain markets and I know how to work with them. So I need to obtain the German license and so on. So that's and look, if you go east, it was there were almost everywhere licenses, right? Already is getting. So and Asia Pacific region and so on. So that's Australia. So if you wish to work in Australia, you need to have a license. Obviously. Actually, we're explaining the first one. This is most probably, from my perspective, there will be a certain concentration. So platforms will play more and more significant role because they concentrate a lot of licenses and also big names and big players. They have a power to do that. They have, and maybe for small markets, it will be a certain number of players. Not everybody will work on the small markets because it will be too expensive, or it is an additional burden, and a combination of two factors will provide an answer for this or that operator. Are they ready to step in this market or not? At the same time, we already see that it is a huge problem of, I would say, gray or black operators working on regulated markets. So that's
the world we live in.
Yeah. So so what is the problem is that it will getting worse, I believe, because it's in nature. So if you put something under pressure, so especially for startups, it will be required more and more efforts and investments to step in this business. But at the same time, the market is growing because a lot of governments implement and make it legal, is betting or gambling in general. So it means that the market is growing because of population, because the regulatory frameworks are implemented or in implementing phase. So that's the C. So I believe on a global scale, the number of black and gray players will grow. And as well, I have rumors. I heard the rumors that, for instance, Curaçao is going as one of the major licenses nowadays, and so they're going to implement a new framework. They're going to eliminate. There are some master licenses, and then there are some companies there, license sub-license by Curaçao Gaming Authority. And so they wish to eliminate that level and license, all the companies, and also they wish to straight in compliance. The operators have to run KYC and comply with AML regulations.
AML, yeah.
Yeah. So when it comes to Europe, it's easy with AML6, right?
So when you say it's easy, it's not that easy, actually.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's easy. You understand the framework.
Yeah.
The easy is that you understand.
Because actually, this is something that we're trying to do on the consulting side. Actually, it's kind of building a sort of a framework that helps our clients actually get access to a kind of a turnkey solution, where people can actually come and receive all of the expertise and because at least from what we see, it's extremely difficult. Not that they don't understand it, but it's complicated. There are many things to take into account. The opening of the MID. Will I be able? By the way, this is also something that maybe you will want to touch on, is the when you say payment orchestration, how you manage all the refunds and then the OCTs and all of the new rules. So all of this needs to be, making a little bit of order and help our clients, our merchants, actually get a good solution that helps them actually find the right solution, the right licensing, and the right banking partners. I think all of this is really important to be able to really tackle the market and have a little bit of an edge over the competition.
Yeah, that's just a huge problem. Yeah, it's not easy to understand. Okay, what I'm trying to say, that's if there is a transparent framework and you understand there are all clear steps what to do, right? So it's so you need to implement, but the complexity is growing because maybe Europe is not only anymore a single market, right? So there are some differences even with the single market,
to say the least.
At least, yeah. So when you work with multiple jurisdictions, the complexity is getting even more because you need to comply with different set of frameworks for example, for AML things, right? So we're different than here in Europe. And then you have a KYC providers are different. So the sources. So actually that. And you have to treat it, differently. So that's the point. Is that's the regulations are coming and changing, and you need to quickly adapt. So it should be flexible.
Yeah.
So that's I'm just trying to say that it's maybe easier for bigger organizations and the bigger players or platforms. They understand.
Totally.
They have a lot of IT guys
Yeah.
who can quickly react on those little things. They have a legal team or compliance team that can follow the I would say recent changes, and they read the articles. They see where it goes, so to quickly adapt to the environments. So it will be not easy for small operators, and it will be a certain barrier for newcomers, for companies, for startups to come to step in this business.
Yeah.
And it's very attractive. I see that not everybody, but a lot of companies wish to enter this market. So it's definitely future. So that will at the same time fragmented experience with local rules, regulations, more frameworks. Governments will also take under control cryptocurrency most probably very soon, and most of the governments, and it will also influence the payments of for online gaming.
And when it comes to crypto and the gaming, like crypto as a payment method, in order to be able to make deposits in a casino or whatever, it is probably going to be pretty difficult to regulate, don't you think?
Yeah, I believe yes, because the nature of cryptocurrency,
that's what I'm saying, yeah.
So based on the technologies, decentralized systems, so they actually in their nature against the control, right? So it's because it's I would say kind of public things. Everybody sees the movements, and this is actually the blockchain is about. But at the same time, we clearly see that many governments have implemented it. So if they control the money flow, so they can they control everything, right? So that's the point. So well, we clearly see that, for example, Estonia has for years the licensing framework for crypto wallets, crypto exchanges, and recently, like 1 or 2 years, so they revoke a lot of licenses. And some other countries just implemented this, so they will have their story.
What?
I mean, so they started. They just implemented legal framework for cryptocurrencies
Oh yeah.
and how to
Oh
handle
yeah.
and also cryptocurrency payments, right? If it's fragmented experience, you have to take it and every penny into account. So it should be a system that allows you to decompose all your activities into license, into jurisdictions, entities, markets or geographies, currencies. Yeah, so it's not only a burden for a legal or compliance team, right? It's also a burden for financial team. Reconciliations
Horrible.
of accounts. So it also means you need to work with multiple providers and multiple jurisdictions, and it means at least you have to support the local flows or local payment methods. Also support some new things are coming, but also you need to somehow reconcile transactions.
You guys have a product for that, right?
Yeah, we have recently released a product for reconciliations. So we call it Reconciliation Center. That's the obvious name, right?
Creative.
Very creative, yeah. True. So we have an internal name, but we decided not to use it as this is still a standalone application, but we call it Reconciliation Center. Yeah, that's it's basically to tackle this problem, because as one side is our product is in nature is that we are about payment processing. We're not only about payment processing, we're also about payment data coming from all these disparate sources, and you need to find abnormalities. You have to normalize data. You have to check the data and so on. So, and also don't forget this is even complexity. It is about that it's like a layered cake, right? It's if you add another layer, the complexity is getting higher. Obviously. For instance, if you put another layer, for example, you wish to tackle with fraud transactions, with fraudsters, it's another layer of complexity.
You have to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. And also you need to so our operators or platforms, they have a lot of IT stuff and IT systems in order to maintain, in order to be compliant with all these things. So it means there's also complexity of the products. So it will be maybe very difficult for them to manage everything.
It is definitely a challenge, and that's what we see, the reconciliation, the currencies, the features, and basically based on the actual jurisdiction, because of the limitation of the licenses, you do not necessarily have all of the solutions available, and the payment methods, and it's getting more complex by the day, and it's really is a challenge, and I mean we assist our merchant, but it's definitely important to, and this is why we're actually doing that podcast, is to really understand the ramification and the nature of the licenses and the regulations, so that the audience gets the updates, and understands what is important and how to really prioritize their effort, obviously to maximize revenue while remaining compliant. It is very important to make order of what is important, what is the main things that they need to focus on, and how to really tackle all of these problems. That's how we see
Totally
things.
agree. So I have a question for you.
Sure.
So I believe you're working with the gambling companies, and certainly what my side is facing is that experience of people
Not
are
only,
different.
by the way.
No,
We
not
work
only.
with
Yeah.
all
So we're not-
merchants.
yeah. So you're not only working with gambling, but
Yeah.
we're talking in particular about gambling cards. So what experience is that gambling clients they're different. So, despite the fact that the overall industry is, uh, con- is has to deal with complex payments for years, so they're getting a lot of experience. But still, there are some more experienced teams, some less experienced teams, and so what do you think about it? Like educating people? Do you need to work more when you talk? Please explain me how it works on your side as a payment consultant. How you're kind of an extension to the team is helping to understand more about payments, how it's related their business.
Good question. Yeah. So
So people at the end you're working with not machines, with
with people,
not entities, but with people.
it's very true. So what we see is, a few years ago, you got your license, Kanawaki, Curaçao, you got your 7995 mid, 7994 if you were fancy, and boom, you were on the way. Now it's extremely different. The world has changed, more complex. We explained all that, and so to your point, a lot of our consulting is really educational. We we come to an organization. First of all, we need to understand what they do, how they do it, the processes. Then we see how we can make it better, how we can optimize the errors, the many errors that are being done here and there, and how to make the process better and the processing better and the revenue higher and the risk lesser and the chargeback lesser and all of that. But it's not enough to understand. You need to actually help them understand. And you need to really, first of all, come with the expertise, explain what the nature of the gaming industry is right now, what is the landscape of the regulation, the implication of the KYC, et cetera, et cetera. So we need to, first of all, educate the teams, the payment teams, the risk manager, everyone around all of the important tasks and the different aspects of their job. And we assist them, we help them, and we kind of pinpoint and suggest, and then slowly help them actually make the changes and better and optimize the operation. But yeah, to your point, a lot of the consulting that we do is not just find you the right bank partner. That's something, you fill an application form and we can find that. It's really easy to do. Really easy. It's difficult, but it's
Yeah, using my words.
yeah. It's I would say it's the easiest part.
Yeah.
The most challenging part is to make it work for the long term. And reduce the cost and everything. That's an entire pan of what we do, and there's a lot of educational part of it. It's
So maybe you already see that some trend, what is coming from other businesses, other
that's a tough
industries.
one. So you do have things coming from other industries, and that's definitely the case. What I think is important to consider across industries is best practices. And actually, merchants from all industry, they're really interested to know what not just their competitors, but the industry in general, and even other industries are doing, and the way they are doing it, so that it, again, maximize revenue and minimize risk. And nobody likes exposure, and everybody wants to make money. That's what we're doing, and it's fine. But all of the ideas are coming from other industries. So, for example, you had like 3D Secure. Okay, now in Europe with the PSD2, that's become mandatory. So it's it's a different story. But back then, you could think that it's something that is going to ruin my conversion, but as we saw, it not necessarily was the case. So you have the regulation, which is what you have to do, and then you have what the best practices are. And you can definitely go and see from other industries things that are not in the regulations, that are not necessarily or could be thought as something that is going to prevent optimization and increase in revenue and growth and stuff, but it's actually the other way around. You have some best practices that, although may seem to be a problem, are going to really help you. So, for example, you talked about KYC. There is an old practice in that it's actually across industries, for example, from the gaming industry to the Forex industry, that
and payments industry.
And
sometimes
that comes because of the payment industry. So, for example, you have a huge player that is going. I mean, most of our audience is probably already doing it. It's a good practice. You don't have to, but it's a good practice, just like in the Forex industry, to every once in a while send them a summary of all of the recent transactions and ask them to sign each and every one of them.
Yeah, but
and it's not necessarily, because it's after the fact. It's not a conversion issue, and it's a good practice. You don't have to do it, but then it helps also with the representment, which is also a huge part of the business that can recover a lot of the lost revenue because of chargebacks. So you do have this ability to fight them. You do have the ability to get the money back. And again, a lot of best practices in the payment industry itself that need to be implemented in order to maximize the company potential. And it not necessarily means just AML, KYC, and all of the bad stuff that the regulation imposes on the businesses. It goes way beyond that. And as you said, it can totally come from other industries.
Yeah, thank you very much for an answer. So, to continue your story. So, what I'm seeing on the gambling on the provider side, payment provider side, is that they're going. So, cards is not everything in Europe anymore, for a long time.
No.
So there are some parts of the world, parts of the
it depends
Europe,
on
parts
on
of Europe
the geos, right? But
it's Nordic countries, Benelux countries. In the UK, if they see that it's a open banking thing is growing, it's huge. So if you don't have open banking, so most probably you have no access to a great audience, right?
As I always say to my merchants, like, if you don't have Ideal in the Netherlands, you're just throwing your marketing dollars to the bin, really.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. So if you have access to dominant payment options on the market, so it means you have access to the market. If you don't have access, so most probably you will pay in affiliates, so they're not converting, and they will not send you traffic, and you will not get return on this investment. So I mean, like, it's cause of chain, right?
Totally, yeah.
So most probably it's better not to go to the market. You have no payment options, things like that. And I clearly see that many acquirers, or PSPs, are now getting not only offering cards, but also are going to offer, already offering a lot of APMs. So so that's also for them is a certain burden. Sometimes it's not easy to control.
And then, of course, because it adds complexity. Not all of the APMs are available in every industry and in every jurisdiction, and you cannot do everything you used to do. And the refunds and the retry logic that you may have in some cases where you need to try again and it's complex. It's getting more and more complex. Definitely.
Yep, absolutely true. So maybe we just summarize everything.
Yeah, let's wrap it up.
Let's wrap it up, and just to provide a clear summary for our viewers.
More complex.
Yeah.
but the regulation is a part of the business, something that you cannot do without. You have to comply. And again, it can actually, when it's optimized and it's done really well, and you have like a holistic approach, I mean, that's my take on it. You can definitely get actually a benefit from complying. May require a little bit of an investment, but at the end of the day, it's a really good thing to do and to do well, and you don't really have a choice anyway. So you'd better embrace it and do it the right way so that it doesn't hurt, but it helps.
Yeah, thank you very much. So, on my side, I prefer to see picture, from both sides.
Yeah.
The coin has always, there is a dark side. We're definitely talking about dark side,
Totally.
many for some time. So let's have a short look on the bright side. So what I'm clearly see is not only the problem or burden is to manage all the licenses, tackle with fragmented experience with both the payments and compliance, but also it's an opportunity, right?
Yeah.
So an opportunity. So I clearly see that it will be very difficult to operate on every corner of which is licensed and so on. So if you see an opportunity and you are first on this market and you can get a great share, quickly adopt, then change. So it's a key to market. It's a key to this market or that market. So I believe that the opportunity is actually relates to the speed of ability of the company to quickly adapt to new settings, to new things.
Yeah, it's very important.
So I think it's the IT systems and their, I would say, connectivity that allows them to quickly adapt to the certain settings is one of the advantages. So maybe is to get this is to turn this into opportunity. You need to start investing now into different systems in order to make your IT infrastructure more suitable for that. And also it means that most probably this is the right time to invest to people, is to educate them, to get people maybe from other industries. Those have already implemented some parts of this of the frameworks and how to tackle with the things. And also teams have to talk. So it will be consistent story. If it's about payments, okay, you with your help with maybe they can get meets, right? But this is not enough, right? So they need to connect those bits. They need to
So first of all,
put the business
it's not
logic
easy to
in that.
get them.
Yeah.
And
I'm not saying it's easy.
No, it's it's
That's
not
fine.
easy. No.
That's his time not.
It's not easy to get them, and especially if you are, not fully licensed yet. So all this is complicated. But when you have them, as you said, it's important to know how to maintain them and how to make the most out of the traffic, so that sometimes when we guys are focused on the payments, we tend to forget that before we get to the payment page, to the deposit page, the cashier, you do have a lot of marketing efforts. And all of these marketing efforts, you want to maximize their impact. And when someone reaches the payment page, it's a shame if you cannot convert. So it is really important to keep all of that in mind. And this is where also your services are very important, because at the end of the day, when you have the ability to work across the different mints that are being open and maximize. So for example, I don't know, well, this issuer works best with that acquirer, and then we're talking about operators that have quite a lot of volume there. But at the end of the day, managing, orchestrating the volume is something that is really important. The ability to cascade, didn't go there, I'm going to try there, stuff like that. All of this just before you get back to the end user and say, oh, I'm sorry, try with another card. That's extremely important. These are I think a large part of the optimization that can be done is to really make the system, and it doesn't have to require a huge IT team to do that. If you have the right partners, you can actually implement what is needed in order to make it happen and benefit, from huge IT teams that have worked on this, and that it's at the end of the day, it is really difficult for a business to have everything in-house. That is also sometimes a mistake. There are some strategic things that needs to be on your side and that actually in a way constitute your IP, but most of the things that you can outsource should be outsourced. It's actually maybe sometimes a little more expensive, but you make huge revenue from the benefit of not having to develop everything inside and you in-house, and you have like people that are, that's the everyday job to make that better, and they know exactly what you need. So it is really important to keep all of that in mind, yet to have the expertise of your specific industry in-house and your own savoir-faire inside of your own organizations. That's very important, and I think that that's a nice way to wrap it up.
Yeah, totally agree with you. So if I rephrase you, so correct me if I'm wrong. So you were at two things. So first of all, is that you need to concentrate on strategic things. And I think it's about data now. More, so you need to have the right data in order to perform analysis on, fraud, on payments, on marketing activities, and so on. So it should be unified information for all the teams, available, ready, harmonized. So it's not only about like only payments. So maybe it's payment information is everywhere, right?
Well, it's kind of central,
Yeah.
but it touches to everything else.
So basically what I'm trying to say is that, look, if you have make available data for all the stakeholders within the organization, so you may find a solution how to tackle this, how to optimize this, or maybe there is no optimization, but maybe you can just concentrate or focus on something, right?
Yeah, that's the benefit of having a one truth source instead of many, and then you know like it sometimes collides and it's not really, and then you need to reconcile it. It's a big mistake.
So you need a system. You need a database for all the stakeholders, and you need an experienced team to read the data, to understand the insights of the data, to get insights of the data still, right? So
and education, as we say.
So we see. So I believe this is nothing new, right? So what I've just said is it can be you can implement in every business, in every e-commerce business.
Yeah, exactly.
Even it's not that complex or regulated and so on. So, but it's nowadays I believe we're talking about like gambling businesses. This is like aggregation of many smaller businesses because of license and geos and whatever. So that's the complexity is about how to manage different businesses. That's all. That's all about that. So you need to rely on right data. You need to have right team, and you need to have the right system. So this is the secret sauce, actually. So very easy to cook, right?
Yeah, super easy.
Super easy. So okay. So thank you very much for
thank you
for this conversation.
Well.
Really enjoy.
Yeah, me too.
And thank you.
I think it's important also to mention that we'll be, doing that again on many other topics. That's the very first one of what we hope would be a series on many topics. Some of them will be probably more oriented in payments. Other will be, for Forex or other industries and stuff like that. So stick around.
Yeah, let's keep in touch. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks.